Well, hello. I'm here by myself. The other guys are somewhere wandering around. They don't know I'm here. I snuck in. They was waiting on me, but I snuck in. They'll find me sooner or later and join the group. So we'll just see how that works out. If I can't find anybody else to talk to or anything else to do, I'll put on a video. I got some of them here somewhere. Just got to find them. This might be one of them. Yeah, here's something. Here's something that I made long time ago. This is probably the beginning of my getting in trouble with the city of La Follette. See how you like this? Our city fathers in all their infinite wisdom have decided that these trees are a good expenditure. They make our city look wonderful. As you can see, they are definitely top notch. I mean, they're right up there with the finest of bonsai trees well, we used to cut these down when they grew in the fence row, and they look a lot better than this, but these are the same people that think that they know what looks good, so who am I to argue? I'm sure they do. We got them all over the place. We got these half whiskey barrels, and we've also got these wonderful shrubs, as you can see. How you like that? Our city fathers in all their infinite wisdom have decided that these trees are a good expenditure. They make our city look wonderful. As you can see, they are definitely top notch. I mean, they're right up there with the finest of bonsai trees well, we used to cut these down when they grew in the fence row, and they look a lot better than this, but these are the same people that think that they know what looks good, so who am I to argue? I'm sure they do. We got them all over the place. We got these. Well, that was the beginning of my trouble when I started insulting the good taste of my betters. But it's got worse since then. I'm gonna see if I can't round up some of these guys that are out there wandering around. I know there's two of them out there. Henson's truck's out front. Bob doesn't call me, won't know where I was at, but they never thought to look down here, did they? Got a pretty good show going on down here if you get Bob and come on down. Oh, you wasn't looking in the right place. You'll be back. Now I've got them rounded up. We won't have to put up this foolishness much longer. I won't have to show another one of them boring videos. We'll see how this works out. I'd say Digger, one of our loyal patrons, has been real busy the last day or two, as cold as it is around here. You need to go down and talk to him and get you some of his propane. 562-5444, right in the middle of the road at Sawmill Holler. And we'll tell you more about him later, but I thought I'd throw that in there, being as he's probably got all the business he can handle anyway. We'll get him something to do. Get this crew in here. We'll make something of this show in spite of me. Little activity. Yeah, there they are. About time it. About parked right out there. About time dragging in here. I'm tired of waiting on you.
Yeah, we came out there waiting.
I finally decided you never was going to look down this way, and I'd just go ahead and start and call you and.
You done told them all about me?
I didn't have to. They already know about you.
Oh, Lord.
How'd you like your cake, by the way? Did you get your cake?
I ate part of it yesterday. It was good. Yeah, you get one?
I got one earlier. I got a pound cake.
Did you?
Yeah, buddy. I'm going to get me a cup of coffee while you got it.
Alrighty. Now I got a pound cake from Digger.
Yeah, I know. I got a apple stack cake.
Right.
I don't know whether we're supposed
Sure
to tell
did.
people that or not.
Folks, we have been feasting all this holiday. And anybody that starves in this country, usually, and I'm going to say this, I make a lot of people mad, is because of sorriness.
Well, most of them sorry they ain't got nothing to eat.
Yeah, they real feel bad about it, you know. So, where is my food?
Well, I still think that anybody in reasonable health and good mind can't
80
go hungry.
years old, yeah.
I don't care where they're old. As long as they can get around and got good mind,
Right.
or if they've got good mind and communicate with somebody, you won't go hungry in this country.
No reason, no
If
point.
you've got the reputation of having worked and tried and been honest, people feed you and feel good about it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, even Mary, you know Mary, walks up and down the street, survives. And you know, that's LaFollette's answer to Forrest Gump.
Yeah, and you know, Bob Andrews said this town was so down in the dumps it couldn't even support a Salvation Army.
I so happy the Salvation Army moved out.
That's bad, ain't it?
That is bad.
Let me tell you what happened to me. I've been getting these ever since I got my phone, and I've had this phone number. I've had it 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years. I've been getting these phone calls for Betty Griffith. Betty Griffith.
Okay.
Well, I started out, I knew she owed somebody something and they was trying to collect, so I started out trying to explain to people who had the wrong phone number. Well, I was real nice about it for the first year, and then I got kind of aggravated about it for the next year, and I got real irate about it the last time they called me, which was last week, till today. So they called me today, and they said, if I was Betty Griffith, please press 1, so I pressed 1. Then it said, if I'm Betty Griffith, put in the last 4 digits of my social security number. Well, I put in 4 numbers, and evidently they's taking all comers, or I got real lucky. So this woman come on, and she said we wanted to confirm I was Betty Griffith, and she asked me if I was born February the 2nd of 1952, and I said, yeah, that's me. So she said wanted to know about a $400 and something doctor bill or something that they wanted me to pay, and what kind of arrangements. We want to pay it for credit card or check. I said, just take my bank account. She said, what? I said, just take my bank account. She said, well, I'm trying to work with you. I said, just take my bank account, just take it. I'm a deadbeat and I want to settle up. Take my bank account, take my car, take my house, and take my dog. Well, she just didn't know what to say, and she hum-hawed, and I mean, she'd never done anything like that. And this went on for just 3 or 4 minutes, her astonishment. And I said, no, I tell you what, I'm not trying to make arrangements. I'm telling you, just take everything I got and take me off your calling list. I said, well, I said, will you make sure to take me off your calling list? Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, take everything I've got.
I'll probably call again next week.
Yeah. And when they do, I'm going to say, look, you got everything last week. Ain't nothing left.
When I've got the time to mess with these things, they call me and tell me that, and I know you've heard this about where that there's a break-in every so many seconds or something like that, and press this number.
All I get to talk to them people won't put me out on that free cruise.
Well, I've been down that road too, but anyhow, they start telling me about that, so I just string along with it and ask me if I own or rent, and I start making this stuff up, about, well, I'm in the middle of a divorce or whatever, and I've been kicked out, and I'm living over yonder so-and-so or something. And what I told him I lived under a bridge.
Yeah.
See if he could.
Yeah, this is an Obama phone.
It is, yeah.
That's like I went over to eat dinner last night with my daughter in Knoxville. Well, she had to work late. Anytime you got a supervisor's job, all that is a reason to work
free.
Work you free. Well, she didn't come home. She finally called me. I said, well, I said, you called a little bit too late. I said, I've already checked into a homeless shelter.
Which daughter is it?
Amanda. Tall one.
No, yeah. I thought she was out west somewhere.
No, she didn't go. She took a supervisory job, pretty about $60,000 a year with one of J.C. Penney's subsidiaries, and they've been trying to move her on up the ladder and move her out of here. She don't want to go. So, but I think she's probably next year she might take a relocation. I don't know.
I was talking to a feller the other day that went to check in on his affordable care,
Okay, yeah.
and it seems the cheapest. I believe they got the gold plan and aluminum, and then you get down to the cast iron and whatever.
Whatever happened to the silver bullet?
What's wrong with the clay plan?
Well, the clay plant or dirt plant or whatever they got. But anyhow, he checked into you could say the cheapest, the most economical, what it was. And I believe it was going to cost him $140-some a month, and for the cheapest part. So he decided he'd just go ahead and pay the penalty for what it's worth. Now, if my understanding is correct on this, if you pay the penalty, you still don't have insurance.
That's
Am
right.
I correct?
That's right.
All you've done, you don't have it.
$300 and something.
Well, it'll come to something like that because he's going to have to. They're going to take about 1% this year. So the penalty is nothing more than just money down the drain, I guess you might say.
But they only take that out of tax refunds. Isn't that correct?
That's how do the homeless people who live in shelters or whatever, you name for any reason that they have no.
Oh, he don't intend to collect from them. That's not the point of it.
Okay. Then, but yet, do they have insurance?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. They've had it all along.
Yeah, they never did go without. It's just us that couldn't afford it went without.
Well, that's interesting. I
How
can't
many
figure the
people
thing
have
out.
you ever seen lined up outside the hospital dying they can't get in?
Never.
Well, how many eviction notices you ever seen them serve on some homeless guy living under a bridge? They never do take his property. If they tear the bridge down, they'll give him a 30-year notice. It'll take that long for somebody's brother-in-law to get the contract.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's change the subject a little bit. I was reading the other day where North Carolina was getting ready to complete a 1,000-mile walking trail from the mountains to the coast. Now, I have no idea what the cost of that was, but you know one of the justifications for doing it? Did you know that 10 people walked it last year?
Really? 10?
10 people walked it last year.
And that was before it's even done.
Yeah.
You remember how many people used to be on I-75 up here trying to get up to Cumberland College up in Gatlinburg up there before
hitchhiking?
Yeah, no, before they opened it.
You're driving on it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I drove on it.
I drove on it.
When we got up there, we got up there one time where we had to cross the road and some people got stuck up. This is my life. I was coming home from school. We had to get out and push these guys out of the ditch so we could cross over and go down the wrong side of the road for a piece.
And then the federal government and this new launch they made, you know, where the one blew up and they relaunched it. You know one of their experiments? They won't take poop.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Rid-X in there and see how it is affected by being in space.
Yeah, how long it takes it to deteriorate or something. I tell you, we are. I don't know how to explain it. We're just we spend. Well, no, we don't. We don't spend this money this way.
Yes, we do. It's ours.
It's our money, but we don't do the spending.
Our agents.
Yeah,
the people we pay.
The people we have, whatever. Tell me something. I talked to a guy today, and he had a total, put me to thinking, which I was already thinking, why is the president going to come to honor us with his presence in this backwoods?
Because our two senators have been so good to him.
This guy has enlightened me on this thing.
Does he realize he is coming into James Earl Ray's territory?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's ass like nothing.
I'm right.
But Lamar's going to be there and meet him.
Lamar's going to be there, and the governor's going to be there. Now,
Well, there won't no Democrat show up with him. They had to get a
The-
Republican governor to show up with him.
Well, here's the
He ought to have Christie with him.
here's the guy's take on this thing, and it makes sense. He said that this thing is a snow job. This is nothing more than window dressing. For the president to come here, to come to Clinton or Knoxville or whatever, this is cover for something else.
I'm sure.
It's cover for something else. There's a deal being made, a big deal. And it's coming down in Detroit and here and other places, Phoenix, Arizona. When he comes here, there's going to be a meeting. Now this is his opinion of this thing and giving us some insight into what he thinks. There's going to be a major top level meeting held with no news, nothing. There's going to be so many. There's going to be probably the governor, the president, the vice president, and probably Corker or whatever.
Wife's coming too.
Yeah, but she may not sit in on this, but she may too. But there's going to be.
Joe won't be able to find the meeting.
Well, somebody's going to have to explain it to
fellas,
Joe.
Okay. Do you follow what?
Ask Joe a question. He says that question is so simple, my wife can answer that.
Well, do you follow what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. What do you think this is concerning?
This is concerning the next election that's coming up. The next presidential election.
Are they trying to decide who's going to get elected?
It don't matter whether it's Democrat, Republican.
No.
The decisions is going to be made right now as to who is going to be president, and it don't mean Democrat, Republican. The governor, he's termed out. See.
No, I know that.
So, but that's what this is all about. Now, let's say that, hypothetically speaking, let's say that the governor and Alexander and Corker and everybody run up to the White House for a meeting. This would raise all kinds of eyebrows. People would start asking questions. Why? What's going on? He comes in down here, he drops a few $100 million or $1 billion. The cover story is going to be education.
Oh, sure.
The cover story is he's fixing to drop something out here on the same level or exceed what the governor has done on this 2 years of free college. He's going to make this thing either national or something along those lines. He's going to cut something for these, and it's a good possibility that they're going to excuse or forgive the college debt is what it's going to, and that comes to about $1 trillion. But there's big money going to be involved, and he's going to make a big promise to give us something. Or maybe the nation. Well, he may not have nothing, but he's going to drop a piece of money.
He's going to give some of what we got.
He's going to drop a piece of money.
He's going to give some of what we got.
But you take, if like they said here, if the governor and all these people went to the White House to have a meeting, it would raise all kinds of eyebrows.
Well, he wouldn't be there.
Well, we can make all kinds about it, but this is serious business. What's going on?
You, look, fellas, I was convinced 20 years ago that there wasn't no difference in Democrats and Republicans. Then I kind of got swayed in the other direction because of Reagan. And after this last 2 months, I've decided that not only is there no difference, they're working for the same people.
Right. This from the talks that I'm hearing and whatever else, and people can call it conspiracy theory, you can call it anything you want to, but this country is run the same as this county is run, not by the people who are in office. They're the only ones they're making little decisions as to be good to your dog week or something like that. But the big money decisions like
they're like that there woman that used to be hanging out over the front of them Viking ships. They're just figureheads, all they are.
That's all this is. And this thing is going to be decided. It don't make any difference, in my opinion. The whole thing is already, it's being laid out right now, the plans are, as to who's going to be the president.
Well, it really don't matter. They're going to put two people up there running against each other, and they don't care who wins because they're
That's
both
right.
working for the same boss.
They're working for the same organization. Now, I've heard all sorts of. I've heard the word Federal Reserve. I've heard that used on and on and on and all this stuff. Went to doing a little digging last night to try to find out, and I just simply typed in who owns the Federal Reserve. And when the thing was set up, it was set up to where that nobody could own it. It had to be owned by 12 branch banks. All right. Now it is supposedly owned by these
12
Federal Reserve banks.
districts.
Banks.
Yeah.
Okay, but who owns the 12 banks? You see what I'm saying? The Rothschilds, and you can name off about 8 big families or whatever that own this thing.
Right.
And I read another part, and I don't know whether this is current or not, but it states in there that these Federal Reserve banks are required to purchase a certain amount of the stock of the Federal Reserve. Now, the Federal Reserve has stock, but it's not traded on the stock exchange. And in the initial design or organization of this, the shares could not be sold out. They had to be offered to the 12 banks first. And there's never been a share sold outside these banks since back in 1913, I believe, is when it was organized. I believe they met.
Was that when James Mellon stopped bankrolling the government?
I don't really know. I know what you're talking about there, where they had, but anyhow.
You're not talking about Morgan, are you?
Morgan. J.P. Morgan.
Morgan, J.P., yeah.
But what got me to look at this, there was one of your associates called me and advised me of a show that was on last night. Can't even remember the title of it, but it had to do with this meltdown in 2008, where the banks and all this stuff, and the taxpayers out here got took to the cleaners. That's all there is to it. These big banks that are like J.P. Morgan and several others, and Bush come on there, and he made the statement, we've got to do this within 24 hours. And that's when he cut that $700 billion bailout.
This associate you're talking about wouldn't be the same one that's getting all that pressure from down west of here, would it?
Yeah, he's getting a lot of pressure, buddy. I mean to tell you, the politicians...
Well, it is when you step on toes.
You step on toes or you stand up, and these politicians, buddy, will flat come down on you, buddy.
Yeah, I know, I've been there.
You've been there.
What they don't seem to understand, if you take everything man's God, he ain't got nothing left to do but shoot you.
Well, I always said that's a big mistake for these people to take all the eggs out of somebody's basket, because they'll turn around and slap you in the head with that basket.
Yeah.
And that's what's this thing here. I understand what you're talking about. It's not right. It's not right the way that elected people use their position to get back at the citizens. They do.
At the local level and going on.
Yeah.
Even when you have people elected to your county commission, within many days after being elected, they got to go to Nashville and be indoctrinated.
Yep.
That's right. They do. They have to go down and be told what they're going to do or what they must do,
Right.
according to, and it's not all written down as Tennessee code and annotated. It's how you conduct business if you intend to
I told that
be
fella,
comfortable.
I
Let me
told
put it
that
that
fellow
way.
what was going to happen to him. I said, you're going to go down there and they're going to agree with you, and you're going to present a terrific case, and you're going to ask them what to think, and they're going to tell you, well, we'll just have to send you a letter. And I said, in about 2 weeks, they're going to send you a letter and tell you you're full of shit, and they done took everything you got.
I hope it don't go that way, but if it does, I hope that he goes the legal route.
Well, you can't beat the legal route.
I know you can't.
Get a lawyer to take the case, and when you do, he'll sell out on you.
No, this is true. Here's something that really struck me on this show last night. They were interviewing a lot of these people that were involved in this thing, this meltdown, and all these Harvard economic instructors and all that stuff. Man, them guys. The guy doing the interview kind of stepped on their toes. He asked them if they should have known this or whatever and so forth. And that one guy said, I mistakenly gave you this interview, and says, no, he said, I gave you this interview out of the goodness of my whatever. It says, now I see that it was a mistake. And said, you got 3 minutes. It's kind of like old Clinton, whenever they gave him the interview over what?
Monica.
What is the meaning of is. But he must have drunk a gallon of water, and this thing was timed. They were only allowed so many minutes to investigate this thing. And he drunk water half the time. He'd sit there and sip that water till they couldn't ask him questions or whatever else.
Right.
So this is anyhow how things are done. But anyhow, this guy, Moody, the guy, their company that does all this big organization that does all this rating, it rates these banks and bonds and stuff.
Right, yeah, okay.
They got the guys that,
and Pours and Moody.
yeah, but this guy, they had him in a congressional hearing, and they was putting the heat on him, and he said that legally, all they did was give an opinion. But the thing of it was, they got paid like anywhere from $200,000 to $500,000 to write that opinion by the people they were writing the opinion on. So you know how the opinion's going to go.
And them good boys. Got plenty
good
of money.
old boys got plenty of money, and then 2 days later they're bankrupt.
Right, yeah.
They got a AAA rating.
Right.
So this goes back to the fact that these rating outfits like Moody and all these other companies or organizations or whatever that rate these banks and rate these stocks, it's bull.
It's
what they're doing. It's
all just a show to get us to work for them and pay their bills.
Well, take a look at the stock market right now. The computer trades that are going on right now. If you want to, people that are making the money on the banks, the ones or on the stock markets, the ones that are trading with the computers, they can trade within, I believe it's something like 1/60th of a second that they can make a trade.
Right.
They can trade so fast, and we old jarheads out here, we're screwed. Now we can go down here and buy a lottery ticket, and every now and then we'll win. Same thing with the stock
that
market.
fast, all you got to do is buy a whole bunch of something, and when it jumps up a penny, just sell it, and you made a penny 300 million times.
That's right. That computer is set at the start of each day, each trading day. If that index goes down, at the instant it reverses direction and starts up, it buys. Now it don't have to. It could have went down 10 points and come up, start up, and it'll buy. And let's say it only goes up 3 points, and then it starts back down again. It sells at the point it switches within a 60th of a second, and whenever it gets all the way back down, even though the stock market loses money,
activity, it don't make no difference.
Yeah.
When you make any money.
Well,
it's just the activity that
it
important.
It makes no difference as to whether the stock wins or loses, as long as it moves.
As long as the trader wins.
Yeah, as long as it
It's
moves.
just how you play
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah, well, it's the computer that does it. You see, the thinking people, you can't think fast enough to do this. Now, back, about a year or two ago, they were working very hard at getting to speeding up this to where it would even go faster, to where they could trade quicker,
Right,
because they was trading by wire,
right.
and they wanted to, and I believe they've got it done now to where they send this message by fiber optic, and it was only going to cut like a second or two off of the distance from one location to the other. But that 1 second could make a difference in untold amounts of money by being able to change that within, I believe it was.
All everybody does nowadays, rather than doing anything, they actually do nothing and perform no services.
That's correct.
They're just sitting around learning how to game the system.
How to shuffle numbers.
The system went down 331 points yesterday.
Yeah, but they still made money.
Oh yeah, America's
They
the
made
world
money.
that can make money off a shortage.
But now the people out here that are buying stocks, once this soaks in, there'll be less of them that's going to be wanting to participate. Now you could still, I'm sure there's people making legitimate money. I'm talking about people who go out here and invest, but they're not making nowhere near the money that these computer trades are making.
No.
Nowhere near. And
a lot of times, if you call those people's hands on all the stocks they bought, they would not have the funds to pay off.
Well, yeah, if you have a margin call. But here's the thing. This thing buys and sells so fast, and let me get back into another aspect of it. They passed some kind of a little thing that said that our congressmen couldn't do this insider trading.
Right.
And they got that thing wiped back out to where they can do it now.
Right.
They can do insider trading now. They give it a different name, reword it a little different, but still yet they have knowledge as they know about all of the
they know
military contracts, roads.
What's gonna make it go down.
Yeah, they know all of it. So,
well, let me
anyhow,
ask you one more question. What are we going to do about all this cold weather coming up, Bob?
That's well, I mean, you have to understand it. That's global warming functioning.
Well, I need something kind of supplement.
Don't you know it takes heat to make cold?
I need something kind of supplement my warming. We got any ideas?
It takes heat to make cold.
Yeah. There is no such thing as cold.
Well, I know that.
There's just absence of heat.
kind of like dark.
That's true. Huh? It's true.
Is that right?
Yeah, you can't move cold around. You have to move heat. You ever thought that?
One.
You don't bring cold in an air conditioner. You take heat away from where you're at.
Yeah. It only travels in one direction.
Yeah, from hot to cold.
Yeah, from hot to cold. And I don't know.
And if you are cold, you need to travel down to Diggers.
Right.
562-5444 right in the middle of the road and buy you some heat.
Now, I'll tell you what, Suze, he was doing his number today.
I bet he was.
They were lined up. They were ready to go.
Just a shivering and getting some more. There's a shivering and loading up, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I got my little tank filled up, and there was about 3 or 4 waiting all day long, just as fast as they can go. In fact, I really think probably the Federal Reserve is relying on Digger to furnish the money for all this additional
I'd say that's right. I'd say that they come to him for a loan this time of year. Might want to go down there and contribute to a worthy cause.
You better believe you get your money's worth when you go down there. They purge that tank, the one I carried down there, purge that tank, make sure that all the old stale gas. Also, what it was, I got some lemonade flavored propane today, and he wanted to make sure all that mesquite was out before he put that lemonade flavor in there.
And if you have trouble getting your old car started and you get ready to go down there and need a new battery, you need to go up Napa. What does Napa stand for, Bob?
Let me call Jerry and find out.
Okay.
I went up to Napa. They got full flavored antifreeze, $8 a gallon. That's a good price.
Yeah, it ain't none of that there pre-mixed stuff to save you.
It ain't the pre-mixed.
It save you the trouble and expense of pouring your own water in it.
I went up. When was it? I guess it was Friday, and I believe it or not, I ain't had time to do it yet. I got a brake line dragging. Well, it's already tore the rotor up, so I ain't worried about it.
What are you driving?
On the little Dodge.
And you got no brakes?
Oh, I got brakes. It just makes a lot of racket when you put them on.
I was going to say, I'll meet you. I'll be sure to give you plenty of room.
I went up there and I got a rotor. And I believe I mentioned it on the show Saturday. Those rotors are about probably an eighth of an inch thicker than what you get at the big box stores. I got pads. They're guaranteed not to stink when you come down Peabody Mountain.
I like him kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Make me feel like a truck
You're
driver.
going up there, that's 562-2529, up at Napa Auto Parts, right across from IGA on the 4-lane. They know what they're doing up there.
More than we can say about these people around here.
Or you say about me.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, it'll be interesting to see the president, though.
I just hope the wind was not blowing all that much.
Well, now, whenever Air Force One comes in, if I'm not mistaken, they shut down all air traffic at McGee Tyson. I don't believe that there'll be other airplanes in the air when that thing comes in. I don't
When's he
believe.
supposed to come, Marv?
No, it's supposed to come in on Friday, I reckon. And what is
I don't know,
today?
but they said, when Reagan fired all them air control people,
Mm-hmm.
said they hired a bunch of inexperienced guys and said this pilot come on, says this is a National 404, says permission to land on runway 1 from the west. Permission granted. Another one comes on, says this is United coming in from the east and request permission to land on runway 1. Fellow says permission granted. Another airplane called in and says, look, says you got National coming in from the west on runway 1 and you got United coming in from the east on runway 1. What's going on? He says, you boys better be careful.
Yeah, look where you're going.
That's a bad deal about that family up there. That little girl walked out. And you heard about that? Didn't you? 7 years old, walked out.
They
from that
said she took a tree limb in pine knot or something and caught it on far there. The airplane used it to light her way part of the way.
Yeah,
Pretty smart.
It's interesting.
yeah. I feel sorry for little kids like that.
One of the they had something on the news about it the other day, and the guy that was explaining what happened or how did you catch what he said?
No.
He said the driver was on this side. It turned upside down or something,
Right,
and
yeah.
whatever. And I thought to myself, I'd never heard of an airplane operator called the driver. I've always heard them called the pilot. But anyhow, that's where you start listening too close to what's being said.
Oh, I might want to announce that the Catholics beat the heathens last night down in Chapel Hill.
Well, I might want to announce that the head Catholic thinks that global warming takes priority over mass slaughter and everything else in this world.
Yeah. They're making difference about, they can pull everybody off the bus that does not, cannot recite the Quran and kill them. Global warming is what you got to look.
As long as they don't cut down any trees or build any fires.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Now, fellas, I don't see how that we can enjoy the standard of living that we do without creating heat. I mean, I hear people talk about it, but I don't hear anybody that have I heard talk. I've never heard anyone saying that they're going to give up their vehicle. A vehicle creates heat.
Well, the only societies that start campaigns and crusades like this are the ones that are so wealthy and so used to and expectant of continued wealth that they don't realize where it comes from.
That's true.
Well, whenever when the people wanted to enact the international building codes, which they did, they cited this part of the country saying that per capita that we used more energy per house than other places. And that was totally, I don't know what kind of comment you consider that, but the amount of energy that a household consumes, there's so many variables in it.
Yeah,
You
you
take
also,
like Al Gore's house, where he's got untold rooms, he's got swimming pools heated, and
lives
everything
himself,
else.
don't he?
Well, yeah, I think the lady kind of got.
Well, you know,
But
our
anyhow-
number one proponent of global warming, Al Gore, that his light bill for his house in Nashville run $24,000 a year.
Well, another thing you got to realize is that if we'd leave this area alone, we'd produce more energy than we use.
Oh, of course.
We've got more coal and resources here than they ever let us use.
All right, let me jump on something else here to show you. You know, you have all these environmentalists wanting to go with organic food and everything. When I was a young man, I was a member of the Future Farmers of America, and I had a corn project, and I was one of the first FFA members that produced over 100 bushels to the acre of corn. This was before there was hybrid corn, okay? This is open pollinated corn. You know what the record is now this year per acre? 503 bushels per acre. Now that was not done with goat manure. That was not done organically. But you know, we talk about chemicals. People are living longer with chemicals than we've ever lived before. People are living longer with the food supply that we've got now than they've ever lived before. You know, rather than reverting back to what's going on over here in Zimbabwe, we need to continue doing what we're doing better.
Let me tell you what I do. When I go to get something to make a salad out of, which is something you can't cook, I try to find something that's not organically grown. I want it grown in chemical fertilizer. I'm telling you the truth. I steer away from that organic salad.
Oh, me too.
Because I know what they got on it.
Well, I know exactly. Let's see, I told my daughter last night, she brings you one of these salads, and it's just like going out here and grazing in the pasture, you know, when you eat that salad. And I told her I was going to raise her some greens next year, and I said it's going to be raised in pure, unadulterated goat manure.
Now this organic food, I mean, we got a dose of them organic onions from Mexico here a while back, and everybody had hepatitis. I don't want none of that organic food.
Right.
I want to know whose organs we're talking about.
Oh, Lord. People are fools for anything, you know. Becomes a fad. And now I believe in conservation. I don't believe in what they're doing to deplete the soil and the nutrients and everything out here in the Midwest in order to raise corn to make ethanol, because, you know, ethanol is just not feasibly, economically feasible.
Well, I was always told that to burn food was a sin, and that's what we're doing.
That to burn food.
Burn food was a sin.
Well, when does it become food?
Well, I don't know, but now you go out there and burn corn, that's the same thing as burning food.
Well, I guess, you know, you wouldn't be allowed to popcorn either, would you?
I always eat some of that. I eat some of that.
Me too.
Of course, you get to thinking about it, everything is food for something.
Right, yeah. Well, you know, they have stoves that operate off corn. And corn pellets.
They've got cars that run off of cordwood, but they ain't. This fella I know never had got his on the road.
Since Andy didn't get reelected, maybe I ought to go over and get that gas fire that he told me I could use.
Yeah. I recommend it before it gets going. He may be using it.
That's an interesting thing, the way that works. It took me a while to figure out how it worked.
Right. What happens, you know, that when you have that smoke from low burn like
Right.
that, and you filter it,
Uh-huh.
and you cool it down, which makes it thicker, and you're supposed to get about 70% as much power out of a smoke-fueled engine as you would a gasoline engine.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get me a steam engine and just throw wood in there and burn it.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
There used to be some old steam engines around your cars, you know, and did any of you ever see a Franklin?
No,
I've
yeah,
heard of 'em, but-
Was it one with the zeros on it?
No.
That's a Benjamin.
Franklin
ain't it?
automobile.
Oh,
It was
no.
a big automobile. And you look, I've looked under the hood of one because, what was his name? Fred Dick. He was a local mechanic, and Fred drove a Franklin, which was an air-cooled engine, a massive engine that pulled a humongous automobile, because Fred weighed about 275 or something like that. You know, he's a big man. And you could hardly hear it run. It was so quiet, and I could hear back then.
Interesting.
What did it run
Was
off
it-
of?
was it-
Gasoline?
Run on gasoline.
Was it an inline engine?
Huh?
Inline engine?
An inline engine. that
Six
was
cylinder or eight?
air-cooled. Yeah, you can look it up on
Yeah.
Google there. Look
The
up a Franklin there. And,
the
and Packards. There used to be more old Packards in that community I lived in. I know we called him the governor. He ran for governor. He came pretty close. He was Republican. We called him the governor. He drove one around and he turned it over, and it had a dish bowl in the back. It was a Packard too. And when it rained, it would fill up with water, and he'd still drive around. Franklin automobile. Okay.
yeah. The back to the us being honored by the leader of the free world. I've heard 2 or 3 opinions on
He's
it.
not even a leader of the United States.
Well, where I'm coming from is everybody seems, well, I'm not going to say everybody. A lot of people seem to think that this is a great thing. In my opinion, once he's here and left, I don't think our environment's going to be changed any other than the fact that he's going to redistribute the wealth and leave some money here, which is money that's been taken or borrowed. And I've been thinking some, and I don't know whether
That's what usually gets
that's
us
what
in
gets us in
around
trouble.
here.
The stimulus, this $85 billion,
Either that or that one. I forgot. Let's go on up and see if we get another one. 1927, Bob Dale Road. Is that the end of it? That's it. He had one like that.
That is a big old car.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, Franklin automobile.
6-cylinder, 30 horsepower, air-cooled motor.
30 horsepower, 6
Well,
cylinders.
that's a big stud house for a car.
That's five per cylinder.
Yeah, that's kind of like
Yeah.
a rubber band.
Yeah. Now, I have seen some air-cooled engines on some excavators and other items. I should be able to name it right off now, the maker of the
Wisconsin,
engines.
was it?
No, it wasn't. It was a foreign-made engine. And I want to say it's made in Italy, but I can't come up with it right now.
Be a Fiat.
Well, I believe it was a Fiat.
Fiat.
But they run these engines in big equipment, heavy trucks and whatever else. And if you had an air-cooled engine like, Deutz runs an air-cooled engine, it makes for a whole lot simpler engine,
Oh, yeah.
where you don't have to have all this ported
Right.
and
I
your
got a
coolants
farm
and
old
whatever
tractor
else.
that don't have a water pump on it.
Well,
Well, they got them dudes.
I ran into,
Tractors out there that don't have that's air cooled.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the Duets. We had a curbing machine one time that was powered by Duets, and we've got a drill something somewhere. But anyhow, I was talking to a guy, and he said that these things are so well built as far as precision that they don't use head gaskets.
That's right.
If you, and the head, you set the head down with a film of oil and you can't pick it back up. You have to slide it to get it off. It's so perfectly machined. But they also say that they're what's called a, what's the word? You don't use ether on them. Let me put it that way. They're a positive, I guess what you call positive displacement. Well, it wouldn't be positive displacement because the air is you can compress air. But anyhow, I guess it backs up to the fact that the compression ratio is so high on them that if you put ether in there, your expansion rate's going to be so high you're going to break something.
Right.
Something's going to give.
They'll blow it up.
Yeah, this is useless trivia to anyone that
Somebody
don't.
out there working on a bulldozer just
Well,
have to take a break.
Anybody that don't mess with them, it don't mean nothing to them.
Right.
But anyhow, whenever the populist and whatever starts bragging on the president, it seems to me like that we have very, very short memories. And not more than a month or so ago, his right-hand Affordable Care Act engineer stated that we, the American people or the American voter, was so stupid that they had to lie to us in order to get us to accept this stuff. And I feel that he is a spokesman for the president. He is saying...
Who was it? Was that Baghdad Bob?
No, it was Gruber. Gruber.
Well, I know.
Good old Gruber. And I haven't heard anything from him. I haven't had a word out of him since they had the Senate hearing, which meant nothing. That was just everybody was getting off a little
If
steam.
something goes wrong, all they do is have a hearing, you know. I think,
Oh.
I think
Then somebody
maybe-
takes full
I think maybe
responsibility.
they're, lining the brakes on my truck, I'll just have a hearing.
Yeah, and take full responsibility.
It probably don't mean anything, but I think that's kind of an insult to make such a statement about the
Well, sure it
even,
is. They
and
look
it
up-
may
No, it's the truth.
it may be true. That's right. Well, I heard somebody else say, well, we elected him twice, so maybe we are.
Well, yeah.
I
think
mean,
so.
you know, I've
Well, now, in case your brakes don't work and you hit a tree, who you gonna call come haul your hind end to the...
I guess I called the environmental people and tell them I've damaged the tree.
Well, after you get out of jail, you'll need to go to the doctor.
Yeah, I think they, you know, they always call 3 or 4 of them county ambulances down there every time they have a fender bender. But if you have serious injuries, you better have them call 562-9370. That's the number for Vital Care Medical Transport Service. They will come, they will dispatch an ambulance that's well equipped with trained personnel that will treat you not as a Gruber would treat the American public, but as a full first-class citizen that deserves tender, loving care. So you look to Vital Care Medical Transport. That's a private company. They got close to 40 years experience, and they will take care of you like you need to be taken care of.
Well, I hope that there ain't nobody gets seriously ill, but if they do, I hope that they'll give old John a chance to help him, because they'll take
We
good
can
care of
happen
him.
to the best of us. Look at me, I had to call.
And the worst of us too. Look at Bob. He had to call. We got to go. We done got in our time about it.
Folks, we'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, we'll be on the same time next week. Maybe not. See you.